everyone, welcome back to the vlog. Just got back from Manila, been traveling, went to Europe and then I went to Singapore, and now I have to let the car idle. The RWB 993 Archangel is actually dead. I need to get the battery charger from the car shop. I have one of those portable battery packs. Hook it up to a battery tender and let it slow charge, because if I just jump start it, I'm going to destroy the life cycle of the battery because it won't start. It's ultimately flat. It's only been 9 days since it last started, so I need to figure out if I need a stronger alternator for that car. But yes, today is going to be an interesting day. We have a few errands to complete. The MRS that we dropped off in Elite Motorsports is actually done, and then I'm going to be dropping off my 458 Speciale so that we can do the full suspension change for it, just to update it and get it I guess to a more newer level. Even if I don't use the car, I do want to keep it tight and maintained. A lot of the suspension on the 458 Speciale and the 458 GT3 need to be changed and updated already, so I need to do that. The 458 GT3 will drop off next time, so this car should be fine. Hopefully this car starts. This car has a lithium battery, so we're good. Super slow start to the morning. The car doesn't have air. The air compressors are not working. Good thing the car was on a semi-drivable drive height. We have roughly 100 psi in the compressors, which means I gotta go to fitment real quick just to check why the compressors aren't turning on. But after that, we're gonna get to drop the car off, and it actually makes sense because my guy is still preparing all the suspension components that we're going to install in this car so that we can get it refreshed. My car is so filthy. The problem with the parking that we have here, the gutter leaks and it goes straight to the car. But we're gonna pull this car out later after we drop off the Speciale, and the FDRX7 still waiting for a slot down at City Motors so that we can pull the damage on that. This car is just parking here. I don't know who owns this car. It looks similar to the car that we're building at the car shop, and I really need to take out these two cars. It's been parked here for so long and I haven't yet had the time to bring these cars out. What do you think? Manta first or the Skyfira first? Anyway, the Nissan Sandwich Z is also here along with RWB Soleil, all getting some maintenance checkups for the air suspension. The Z still looks oh so good. I don't know if I regret giving up my allocation for this car, but there's just too many cars in my life at the moment, so giving that up made sense. And the not a car guy, nice guy Nick with his beautiful RWB Soleil. I really like how this turned out. Not a fan of the yellow in the beginning, but everything that went on the car, it looks so clean. Love it. And there's this super crazy, looks like Time Attack STI. The bumper almost looks like an Evo in a sense, but it's got some Workmeisters also. Crazy wide body. That's like all out STI. Wonder if he needs a motor. So I'm glad the 458 was able to drive here. This is not my drive height. It's a little lower, just about 20 psi lower on the back, but the boys are changing a fitting right now. I messaged the boys down at Titan saying I'm back. I can do the break-in for the NSX, but I think they want to do the break-in because I'm not very patient when it comes to breaking in. We'll do 600 kilometers at maximum and then I will let it rip, but I can't with that car. It's such a special build that they need to really bring it to 1,000 kilometers before they do a wide open tune on the dyno. I also messaged our boy down at Motul. Jules is going to send me a RBF fluid so that we can flush the fluid on RWB Ava. I also got to do the rear brake sensors, and then the steering wheel is a little off center, and then this one can go back to second skin for some touch-ups. Nabasag yung fitting?
Nabasag.
Buti naka-drive height pa siya. Oh, really basag. Fitment to the rescue. So there should be a quick pit stop and then we'll be on our way. I also have the Novitec spoiler for the 458 Speciale, but that entails punching some holes here on the rear deck lid. And I don't know if I'm ready to do that because this car is still 99% original. I haven't done much to the body. We did the wheels, the Prazis air suspension, we did the wrap, but we haven't done anything major that will end up probably regretting. Obviously the Klein full Inconel exhaust, which sounds amazing. And I ended up doing the Darwin Pro rear diffuser because mine wasn't carbon. This is the Darwin Pro carbon rear diffuser. And then I have the Novitec wing, which gives it a little oomph. I don't know if we should install it or not, but I love this car. Really thinking of painting the car in this color already. Now a full repaint in this color might devalue the car, but I don't think I'll ever sell this car. I never know. I always say I never sell things, but I end up selling some stuff because I need to make space for other stuff. But this color and this wrap is one of my favorite wraps on the car. I just noticed this Lexus has a massive supercharger. Check that out. Bam. That is crazy. The cars lined up here today are nuts. This one also has a wide body. Wide body, wide body, wide body, wide body. Like the trend here. And a van getting some air suspension done also. We have our compressor. Perfect. Gonna go meet up with our convoy van so we can get some rollers and then drop off the car, pick up Ava, and do it all again this afternoon. Parts inventory. Rear tie rods. These are full front suspension. Right hand front lower control arm. This is left hand front control arm. Okay. This is tie rod, the long tie rod. And then, oh wait, that's for my other car. Sway bar link. It's so tight. The MRS is done and the boys here sorted out the car. The wind is in my hair. So everything should be working. Aircon should be working. The shift lock should be working. And then we ended up getting him some signal lights which are on the correct side. I won't test the wiper. Oops, sorry. Sorry, horn's working. New radio also. And then we sorted out the windows. So cool. The radio also works now. Air conditioner, this AC switch just needs to be replaced, but that's working also. The shift lock is working already. They actually disabled it. I need to make a fiberglass cover for these sides, but the car's almost done. We ended up changing all the suspension arms also for the car and then giving it a full service. So I'm so happy that Brian was able to test drive the car already. All right, leaving the cars. Just got to the car shop. So the boys at Classic Speed are here and I'm going to have them do the water pump. But first, we're gonna get a audible sound check on the new setup. I think the exhaust tips need to be moved out. Okay, sound check. Ended up ordering the more updated water pump. According to the internet experts, this has a smaller pulley and it is a better designed impeller, which is supposed to be an upgrade for this car. So the boys at Classic Speed just happen to be here, so we're gonna end up changing the thermostat in here just to make sure that's functioning as new. I got a temperature sensor also because I think maybe that could be an issue, but the only problem is they said the whole intake manifold needs to come out. We also have some upgrades of some lines to silicone just in case some of the lines are rupturing or creating creases and impeding water flow or coolant flow. We're gonna upgrade that also. So as much as possible, we're going to try to clean out the cooling system and see, hopefully, if this improves everything. Last week when we were away, they actually upgraded the alternator already. So now at idle, we're getting 13 volts and then during cruising, we're getting 14 volts. Unlike the previous alternator that I installed, it was only getting 12.4 volts at idle, which was terrible. I ended up ordering the hoses. Some of the hoses can be used, some of the hoses can't be used. So we're gonna do a quick upgrade also for that. This is our airlift evacuator. This is going to remove the coolant into the system and then create a vacuum. So we're gonna remove all the coolant by using the airlift system. What happens is the air runs through here and it actually creates a vacuum and pushes the coolant out. Here's the fastest way to evacuate coolant. And because we're just doing the top side, we don't need to evacuate all the coolant, but obviously later on when we're going to refill everything, we'll evacuate it so that we can dismantle all this. And in the meantime, Kev has set down the SLS already, and we have 3D printed many things. So he's working on the side blade. Wow, Kev, this looks so good. Oh, our rear wing is on. So this was a 3D printed rear wing. You can see it's very modular and needs to be done. The angle is wrong. I think the angle needs to be tilted up a little. We need to make the tabs for this so that we can tilt it up. But this car was actually our first 3D print experiment. This is 3D printed. The base here is also 3D printed. One of the fenders were 3D printed by another car shop. And this is the next step for the carbon process. We're gonna end up doing as many carbon fiber parts as possible. And Kev is just cleaning everything out. Wow, these fends look so good. Moving, and I had to leave Ava last time because the exhaust vent system for the fuel tank ended up getting destroyed and punching into the fender cabin, so the car smelled like fuel. Now we ended up cutting it up just like how Nakai does it. He basically shrinks the carbon charcoal canister to a smaller size. I also shrank my water sprayer to a smaller size so that it doesn't rub anymore when we're turning. So I should have a few more degrees of steering now, so that's good. Something flew at me. Second skin, baby. I love tunnels. Our rescue kit. This is the EcoFlow battery pack and a C-Tech charger. Not sponsored by any of these guys, but this is what we have to deal with at the condo because there's no way to plug the cars in. Hopefully no one nabs any of these things here. Back in the tunnel. You know what's weird? My handbrake light just decided to quit. So I don't know if I need the brake sensors. Anyway, we're going back to the car shop. They had some issues and I need to go check on it. Apparently some of the sensors that I bought were not right, or it's only lacking. I'm not quite sure. So I'm gonna go back and check on the boys. Wish this car was louder. Maybe not. It sounds so good. I want to hear it more. Maybe we should just pipe the sounds into the interior like the new cars. Boy said also the water pumps are the same. So my water pump is already the upgraded water pump. It has the same pulley size, it has the same impeller, it has the same part number. So the best thing we can do is change the thermostat. And then yeah, the sensors for the engine bay, there's 3 sensors. So we're gonna take a guess now and replace one of them and have to order the other sensors. And then also replacing any hose that is not silicone. But that hose is so hard. Return of everything. Even if the pump was new, we changed it. The thermostat was the only thing brand new that we changed, and then some of the lines underneath, but nothing jumped out that could indicate why we're overheating. Next best thing is to start out the tuning and then see from there. But I do need to replace the other sensors. It's just such a pain because this whole intake needs to come off once we get the other sensors. In between, while they're doing that, Kevin and I are discussing the rear wing for the SLS, and I think I need to ask Patrick to print a bigger blade. Not quite happy. Also the side profile of the side skirt. Something needs to be done to the side lip just so that we can even out how it's shaped. The wing blade fell off a while ago and then Kevin's just taping it on now. Okay guys, the wing's not wide enough for me. If we made a new side piece and we measured it from the cut, I need about 12 inches. The wing blade could be out of the 12 inches, but the blade here, I need to lengthen it from the cut. It's day 2, and the boys yesterday didn't get to finish the 550 because one of the O-rings were sort of flat already, and I forgot to order a replacement O-ring for the water pump system. So we're gonna go there now. My guy Ralph ended up buying a different O-ring, and we're gonna install that and see if we can get the 550 running. So that's going to be the vlog for today. Yesterday Fran was in the workshop trying to assemble our 3D printer also, and I messaged our friend Patrick to see if he can reprint the wing. But we're going to check on the battery. Archangel is being tendered right now. Let's get that tender out. Battery is weak too. Let the idle come down. Letting the battery charge because this car almost didn't start this morning also. I need to request a plug for the condo so I can just tender the cars. So keeping it in high gear so we can charge. Really a little puddle here. Yep, still the same. Water buildup. Welcome back to the car shop. And I have zero clues how to do this. But we had to replace the O-ring that sits right there, and I gotta figure out how to mount all the hoses back together. We have the O-ring already. Here's the O-ring. Okay, so got that on. We're now doing the tensioner, and we're gonna put the belt on, and we'll put the hoses back in, and we'll do a quick leak test. All right, so we're gonna do a leak test real quick. We're gonna use the airlift evacuation tool and see if we can get some good vacuum and hold it for a few minutes. And if no leak presents itself, then I can continue to assemble the covers and get everything sorted out. If you guys like doing a lot of things yourself in your garage, this is a useful tool, the airlift. So what's gonna happen is the air pushes through, creates a Venturi effect, and then pushes the liquids out. So we're gonna vacuum all the way to the green part, and then we're gonna lock it and then wait. So you'll see the lines are collapsing because it's creating a vacuum. And this is the fastest way to remove air bubbles of your system. Also fastest way to check for air leaks. So right now we still have a leak because the vacuum is moving. And one issue with the vacuum tester is you don't know where the leak's coming from because it's sucking the air in. So if you had a small stethoscope, you can listen for hissing sounds. Okay, not working. So if it's not working, you need the opposite. We're gonna pressurize the system. We're gonna add some water so we have a visual on seeing where the leak could be. So putting some water in, pressurizing it, and hopefully the water will seep out. I don't know if you guys can see that, but the leak is still coming from the water pump housing over there. It's gushing water and we're making a mess. Ralph was able to find a thicker O-ring. Hopefully that's enough to seal the pump. It looks much better, higher profile, and we're gonna clean everything to make sure that we get a proper seal. So back to work. I won't film this side anymore and then just film it. Hopefully this is the successful part of the video. There, we found the leak. It's at the housing of the water pump. So I got a used pump and it's leaking at the housing, so I need to change the water jacket of that, but at least the O-ring's not leaking anymore. Just had a quick lunch break and we're installing the old pump now, but we saw that the thermostat might have been the issue. The thermostat that we installed looks much newer and the spring is much softer. So the thermostat that was in the water pump plus the older thermostat in the busted water pump were both the same ones, and then the new one I bought looks a little softer, different design. So hopefully that's the cause of the issue. Hoping this doesn't leak anymore. This is our third try for today. It's driving me nuts already, but this should be the last one. So Ralph's just wiggling in the lower hoses and then we're gonna assemble again and do a pressure test, and fingers crossed. Take 3, and we've set the vacuum. Okay, so now we're gonna leave it for 10 minutes. If it doesn't move in 10 minutes, then we should be golden. We still have to remove the intake pipes and then put back the covers, but at least the water pump side is not showing any signs of leak. A while ago we did this exercise 2 more times and it was leaking every time we did the pressure test. So now we're good. So if this works, we're going to remove the air, remove the intake pipe, the top pipes, and then put the covers back on so we can just assemble everything already. God, 2:47. We've been at this since 9 a.m. Finally installing the shielding on the belt, just got back on. The engine looks okay, and we're doing the final steps before the final leak test. The engine cover for the V12 Ferraris, or well, at least for this series of V12, is a pain to deal with. There's so many mini bolts on the back of the head and then on the front, so I gotta check everything. And problem is I didn't dismantle this, so I actually don't know the order, and we're just doing some guesswork. Okay, so last piece of the puzzle is the final cover for the water pump. Okay, moment of truth. Ralph finishes the rest of the components. I added some coolant and we'll do the last leak test. There we go. Vacuum looks good. Going past 25. Lines are shrinking. And then lock. Give it a few minutes, it is maxed out. We're almost at the end of the road, so time check, almost 3. Pressure looks solid. Okay. Okay, we're starting the car. This is cold start, 550, new exhaust alarm. So good. I'm dying of fumes. I had to move the all part out, but revving it. Temperature is still cold. We're just warming up the oil also. Up to the 90 mark, where I used to struggle. After it goes past 90, it just keeps going, but so far so good. The weather is colder today. We are indoors, so it might be different when it's full sun, but for now, at least the radiator is not leaking. After 3 water pump removals and installs, everything seems to be fine. The only way to test it is to go out for a road test. And some great news also, the Speciale is almost done, so I think tomorrow we can swap cars.